It begins with a sound of frantic skittering, a distant mix of scrabbling claws and squirming tails that grows louder and more insistent. Then, boiling up from their hidden layers in a tide of unwashed fur, they come, the verminous swarms of the Skaven. Where the humans of the world that was would have told you that there are no such thing as Skaven, these monsters in the dark have become too real a threat in the mortal realms to be considered as just superstition. The Skaven are the malevolent ratmen that plague almost every corner of the mortal realms and embody the rampant anarchy of chaos better than almost all others. It is these crazy critters that are our focus today. Each individual Skaven truly believes themselves to be an unrivaled genius and worthy of the utmost glory. They spend their entire lives plotting their own selfish advancement, blaming any setbacks or disappointments not on any incompetence on their own part, but of their peers, or there's clearly jealous rivals trying to keep them down. It is this never-ending crab bucket of a power struggle that has kept the Skaven from overrunning the mortal realms entirely, blotting out the land under a sea of yellow claws and scabby brown fur. Whilst the Skaven aren't as powerful or brilliant as each Ratman would lead you to believe, their numbers more than make up for this shortcoming. If every single person of all the other factions were to be counted, their numbers would still not match those of the never-ending verminous tide. The Skaven population multiplies exponentially, and if not kept in check, will consume even the most verdant of landscapes. For many, it is hard to see the true extent of a Skaven infestation, but should you venture beneath the earth into the Under-Empire, hordes upon hordes of these ratmen await you. The central Skaven capital is a place called Blight City. Connected to the mortal realms via Gnaw-holes, the winding warrens echo with the shrieks and cries of warpstone industry and twisted engineering. A nexus for the entire Skaven Under-Empire. Its paths not only lead out into other realms, but also deep into the heart of the realm of chaos. Travelling down its networks of ever-expanding tunnels and warrens, the city is never quiet. Whether it's the sounds of warpstone being chiselled and rammed into machinery, clanless rats hunting in the dark for easy prey, or just the millions upon millions of the city's inhabitants all pushed together trying to get one up on each other, there's always activity occurring within this vile and chaotic settlement. Gnaw-holes are more than just a way out of Blight City, however. They are also the way in which the Skaven travel between the mortal realms. Only the deranged children of the Great Horned Rat would look at the realm gates and think, this is good, but it can be better. Their version of better, of course, isn't grand architecture, magic woven into the stones of some sort of new, fancier realm gate. Instead, the Skaven opted for literally ripping reality apart with warpstone drills and the claws of rat ogres, then spilling in through this rupture before reality manages to put itself back together again, hoping that they don't end up inside a volcano or something worse on the other side. The art, if you could call it that, of creating a Gnaw-hole is as imprecise and volatile as all of the Skaven's creations, and there is no guarantee that the intended destination is anywhere close to where the Skaven will actually emerge. For every Gnaw-hole that successfully aids the Skaven in launching a surprise attack on their prey, another will dump the rats at the bottom of an ocean, or leave them floating out in the aether void. Despite the dramatic drawbacks of using a Gnaw-hole, they are almost impossible to defend against, and also mean that the Skaven can't be trapped or held by shutting down realm gates or defending one side of them. Against Gnaw-holes, the only real defense is to react quick enough to fight the Skaven arriving, before too many of their number manage to make it through. Now for anyone thinking, wow, these Skaven sure do sound like a Chaos faction, you'd be right. But they don't belong to any of the 4 Chaos Gods, Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch or Nurgle, nor are they a type of demon. The Skaven worship and follow the Great Horned Rat, a recent addition to the Pantheon of Chaos. Once a minor deity, the Great Horned Rat was separate from the denizens of Chaos sharing only a habit for causing unpredictable destruction. This all changed, however, with the destruction of the world that was, Sigmar's old home. As millions of souls were consumed by fire and sorcery, the Great Horned Rat saw an opportunity for ascension and grabbed at it with the yellow claws of a god. Stuffing his maw with those Skaven who had yet to perish in the end times, the Great Horned Rat scampered away from the end of the world, hiding in the shadows of the void until they came across the mortal realms. Spewing these contained Skaven out onto the land, he set them the task of spreading out and multiplying. They were to bring Skaven to every corner of every realm, and spread the Skaven Blight far and wide. This head start on the other Chaos Gods, and the spreading of the Skaven Blight to even the realm of Chaos, allowed the Great Horned Rat to cement their place in these new worlds, taking their place amongst the other gods of Chaos. Whilst they are seen by some as a minor player in the great game that Chaos plays, the other gods have been known to team up on schemes with the Great Horned Rat in the past, and some clans even share some alliance between their Skaven deity and the other gods of the chaotic pantheon. Take Clan Pestilence for example, they've got quite a thing going on for Nurgle. For their part, the Great Horned One does not play in the same way as the others, skulking about and hiding their ambitions from the Big Four. They are a deity of boundless cunning, and they're biding their time until their grandest of schemes are fully prepared to be unleashed upon the mortal realms. Wherever they're found, the Skaven do not act as individual rats of means. All big decisions for the future of Skavendom are made instead by the Council of 13. It is comprised of a mix of the leaders of the 6 greatest Skaven clans, and from those of the Greyseer priesthood, the most fanatical of the Great Horned Rat's followers. These together equate for 12 of the seats, but the 13th seat is always saved empty, left for the Great Horned Rat themselves. Not that they typically turn up for a meeting. Gathered in a chamber at the heart of Blight City, they sit equidistant from one another, positioned out of range of any firearms or particularly long knives. They communicate using yells and squeaks, amplified via snout phones and ampler squeaker arrays. Yes, that is their real names. Hurling abuse and insults at one another, save from a volley of Jezzail bullets. In all of Skaven history, only one has ever dared sit at the 13th seat, and even then, only in times of utmost turbulence. The Rat Demon Screech Vermin King, mightiest of all the Vermin Lords, and the left claw of the Great Horned Rat, has on occasion invited himself to sit at the council, taking the seat to give the judgment of their god to those whose job it is to arrange Skavendom. It is said that Screech began his existence not as a single entity, but that he was once an entire council of 13. Legend says that the great minds of this group sought to combine their genius and cunning, aiming to enact a coup on the Great Horned Rat themselves. Needless to say, they failed, and their punishment saw them encased within a prison forever, left to starve for a millennia. When their god returned for them, they found that they had merged into one mass of flesh and fur. Never wishing to waste an opportunity, the Great Horned Rat moulded this abomination into the Vermin King, and set him about the mortal realms to better enact their will. The Skaven are a really in-depth and interesting race of crazy rat people to read about, and their lore is as diverse as their many clans. Whether it's the warp lightning cannons and the doom wheels of Clan Scryer, or the poisoned blades in the dark hunting you from Clan Eshen, there's 1,000 ways to die when the Skaven have you in their sights. To me, they truly embody what it means to be a faction of chaos, with not only your enemies confused by your actions, but I don't think even the Skaven truly know the plan most of the time. With an attitude of, well, we'll just keep doing it till it stops working, and then try something else. I've got a lot of time for the silly but scary nature of the Skaven, and honestly believe they bring a lot to the table when it comes to the epic stories in the Age of Sigmar. We'll cover the Skaven clans in better detail in the future, as well as really get stuck into their different war engines and connections to the other factions of AOS. Keep an eye out for those on the channel soon, as well as Skaven popping up in other videos, as they cause issues for everyone at one point or another. If you don't want to miss out on any future Skaven videos, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps us to continue what we're doing. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.